thanks for stopping by. I'd like to let you guys know that today's video is going to be a kind of like a mini haul from the yarn crawl and the StitchCon that I participated in the last few days. And I have a special announcement. I now have an Instagram account, and it is going to be where I'll keep you guys up to date with my knitting projects between filming videos. So if you'd like to give me a follow or just see what I'm up to over there, it is Paws and Pearls Offline, and I'll have the Instagram account name in the description box too if you would like to check it out. And if you're here from Instagram, thank you for stopping by and watching my video, and if you've seen the others, give them a like if they're up your alley. So I'm using a lid of one of my shoe boxes to fan myself today. The weather was supposed to be 9 degrees cooler than yesterday, and I filmed yesterday, but I made a mistake in the video and it was already too late and too hot, and I was like, I'll just do it tomorrow. And today we're supposed to have some thunderstorms, but it looks like it's just a little bit overcast, and I will not have any relief today. I thought about bringing in the fan, and if you've watched my other videos, it's kind of awkward when it's in here, and I was going to shoot downstairs, but I have so much stuff to show you guys that I know my cats would just be all in it, and that would just make it a lot more difficult for me to film the content. So I'll take breaks, fanning myself to show you what I have. So on Thursday, today is Tuesday while I'm filming this, on Thursday I participated in a yarn crawl in some neighboring suburbs and cities that were close to me. Local yarn shops, which were not local at all, but considering I don't have a car, I had to take public transit to get to these places, and I just had to be really strategic about what I was going to do. And I only had found out about the yarn crawl maybe a few days prior to its coming to an end, so I figured when I had some time off of work, which I did have Thursday through this Friday off, I was going to just use the day and chose my first day of vacation to just knock out as many shops as I could, and I was able to completely visit 8 shops during the yarn crawl and got some cool stuff. So that's what I'm going to show you. And since I didn't really know about the yarn crawl until kind of last minute, I had already budgeted to go to the stitching convention or stitch convention, and so I had to kind of like reallocate what my funds were going to be used for. So I have notes. I jot down some information to share with you guys if you're just interested, and I thought it would be interesting just to pass that along to you. So let's get started. So I have my trusty notepad with all of my tidbits here. So yes, yarn crawl and stitch crawl. So Thursday I visited 8 shops. I was technically out of the house around 7 a.m., but didn't get to my first destination until 11. I had an errand to run before it opened, and the first shop opened at 11 a.m., so I had some stuff to do once I got into the city, but 7 was when I was actually out of the house. I didn't get home until after midnight, and the shop that I had visited last, I didn't step foot in there until about 9:15 or so. So between 9:15, going shopping, and then getting home was like 3 hours of just transit time or me in the shop. So it was a long day, to say the least. So I was very exhausted when I got home. My feet hurt. And if you're here from Instagram, I was posting about how my feet hurt and how I was dirty because I was all sweaty from walking around everywhere. It was a really hot day. So if you're going to check out the Instagram, you'll see kind of my journey and different places I visited while I was on the yarn crawl. So I made some rules for myself. I wasn't going to spend any more than 30 minutes in each shop because 1, I had to account for travel time, and then 2, I had to account for when the shops actually closed. So I had to make sure that I was keeping on schedule for the most part. And I wasn't going to spend any more than $30 in each shop, and I'll tell you more about that later, but because of my budget that I had for the YarnCon, StitchCon, thinking that, you know, I was going to buy a lot of nice quality yarn, maybe some notions, some other tools and gadgets that I do need in my knit kit, my supply arsenal. I didn't have like crazy idea of how much I was going to spend, but I knew like I was going to be prepared to spend quite a bit of money. So I had to like reallocate all of that. So I figured $30 at each shop would give me $240 to spend in total, which for me, considering how many places I was going to visit and the prices of, high quality yarn, I was like, okay, this seems pretty reasonable. Let me scoot you back just a bit. My foot's like down on there and I don't want to kick you. So it was not honestly difficult to visit the shops in about 30 minutes. Once I got in, asked the shop owner or associates like kind of the lay of the land to get used to where everything was located. Because I didn't have a crazy budget at each shop, it wasn't too hard to kind of just like narrow in on some things that I wanted to pick up. And one of the items that I decided to pick up were, or several of the items that I had in mind were cute notions, stitch counter, DPNs for socks, 9 to 32-inch circular needles, a medium sock blocker. When I was at KnitPicks, when I was looking at yarn.com, the medium sock blockers have been sold out for some time, and I wanted some soon because I had just finished knitting the pair of Ray Light socks and wanted to block them so I could, wear them when it cools down a little bit here. And then just have the medium sock blockers because that's the size generally that I'll be knitting for the women that I'll be doing the holiday gifts for. And I already had the large set that I bought from KnitPicks at their tools sale that I had showed you guys in a previous haul. Blocking pens. So I think it's Knitter's Pride has like this, it kind of looks like a cartridge to me, but it's like a block of plastic and it has needles coming out of it, maybe like 10 to 12 needles coming out of the bottom. So you could just like chunk the whole thing down on your whatever you're blocking to have a row of needles while you're blocking your work, and or pens if you call them pens or needles. And I don't have anything like that. I do have like a case of needles, but they're not enough to block a lot of things at once, and they're not enough in the set to kind of get a good block for like a scarf or something like that. So I need to pick up more pens anyway, but I was hoping to find some at the Yarn Crawl. And any sock yarn that I was going to buy had to be at least 357 yards because of this, sitting on it, this yarn pattern, or this pattern book that I picked up at KnitPicks, and the last time I purchased some things there, most of the patterns require 357 yards of their fingering weight yarn, one of their brands that they carry, or one of their lines that they carry, and I wanted to replicate some of these patterns and figured, okay, if I'm going to buy sock weight yarn, it has to be at least this long so that I can knit a pair of socks to the length that the pattern asks for. And I added later during the trip that I was going to buy something different that I wouldn't normally pick up on my own, I guess, and I was going to avoid any blue or teal yarn, because if you've watched my channel before, you know I've mentioned that blues and teals are like the colors I really love to work with. They're some of my favorite colors to have around, and I needed to get away from that, otherwise I'd have boxes and boxes of just blue and teal yarn, which isn't bad, but if I'm knitting for other people, I would like a little bit of variety, and not to think so much of myself all the time when I'm knitting. So I wanted to venture out and push my boundaries. And I think, oh yeah, I was going to join any mailing lists and take any free merch that they had available, like cards or pens or anything like that at each shop. So, shop one, I spent I spent $20.86, and I picked up this really pretty cake. Well, it was a hank, and I had it wound. And shout out to Rebecca from episode 4. So I made a note. Episode 4, Rebecca answered some of my questions I had in that video about why do yarns come in hanks. I really don't like winding them up. What's the purpose of the hanks? And she took the time to respond to my question. So I really do appreciate your response, and thank you. So going forward, I will not be doing this to my yarn anymore if it's animal fiber. And this one is definitely animal fiber, so you'll see maybe one or two more of those come up today in today's video, but I had only read her comment after the fact, so I was like, whoops. Okay, so going forward, I'm not going to wind up my hanks until I'm going to use them. So this was a hank. They did it in store. I was really surprised because the first and only yarn shop that I had visited prior to the Yarn Crawl was the one that actually is now officially out of business, that I went to and showed you guys some of the stuff I got there with my Knit Picks haul / beauty haul video that I did. And when I bought the stuff from the one that was going out of business, they did not ask and did not offer to wind up my yarn, so I didn't even think that it was something that was done there. But then when I went to the first shop and the Yarn Crawl, they said, would you like us to wind up your yarn for you? And I said, yes. So like, oh my gosh, I hate doing that. It's so time consuming. It's just awkward getting the hank on the Swift and all that. So it's like, yes, please wind it up. It'll be easy to transport because I was going to several other stores and just had it in my travel bag that I had with me for the day. So I got this cute hank turn to cake of yarn, and I have the info on a wrapper. They took the wrapper off, but they gave it to me, and I have in the description box a link to the brand if you're interested, and it's Rowan. And this is, what did I pick up? It's hand-painted yarn, merino. Here we go. So the content of the fiber is 45% wool, 20% mohair, 25% polyamide, and 10% silk. And it's a really nice yarn, and I'm excited to knit some socks with it. And we'll see. They might be a gift, they might be for me. We'll see how it goes. And also at that shop, you're wondering, like, what? How did I spend that much? I picked up this really cute sheep card. It has like the needles coming off of it, knitting up some of the wool, and I just thought it was so cute. I'm probably not going to use it for any body because sometimes when I have like a really cute card, I feel worried that if I give it to somebody, they're just going to toss it out and they're not going to cherish it for its artwork. And this is one of those that I think I'm just going to keep because I don't want that artwork to go away. I'm kind of weird like that. Maybe you are too. Do you collect cards? Do you find cards that you want to gift to people, but you're like, oh, you know, you don't want them just to discard them, even though they're not meant to be kept like that? Like, let me know. So shop 2, I was not close by these shops at all. I kind of had to make like this crazy roundabout loop-de-loop thing. Like, I don't even know how many miles I've traveled, but it was a journey for sure. So shop 2, I spent $54.57, and I won't say I was tricked, but these guys, these Knitter's Pride DPNs, I got the Carbons and US size 1, and the Zing and US size 2, and I have a lot of the Zing circulars that I really liked them. And I needed some more DPNs for knitting socks. I only have one full set of the sizes for DPNs, so I could only knit like one pair of socks at a time. And I thought I'd pick up the Carbons too, just because I think I trust Knitter's Pride by this point, considering how many circulars I have of theirs. So I picked up the size 1. But on the back, the price was blacked out. And I don't know if they've changed the price or what, but I couldn't read what it was. And then the other one I picked up, the Zing, were only $6.25. So I was like, $6.25. Why the heck would the Carbons be any more than that? Sure, why not load them up in my cart and head out to the checkout line? So I didn't think to ask because it was blacked out, but it was reduced price, but it definitely was over $15 for the carbons. And I also picked up just these um, little needle protectors, a couple colors. They had like a whole jar full. I grabbed some of their stitch markers that they make in-house. I thought these are really cute. And I also, probably one of my favorite purchases from the day was this cute little knit kit. It comes with like all the yarn you need and some stuffing inside. And they're just cute too. Two cute little kitties. So I'll link to that product in the description box as well. They had a whole bunch of different little patterns of those, and I thought they'd be so cute to put on my desk in my office because they're only going to be like a $half size tops. They're like really tiny kits, and I was like, oh, that'll be fun, that'll be cute. So all of that together came out to $54.57, and I was like, okay, let me pump the brakes a little bit. So the next few shops let me be a little more cautious about what I buy, what I pick up. At least make sure that the prices are clear, or I can kind of guess in my head that they're not going to be crazy expensive, so that I can make sure I'm still within budget, because that $54 was about $24 higher than I had intended to spend. So that was already almost a whole other shop's worth of merch that I could have picked up. So I went on to shop 3. I went back out to the burbs. So I started out in the burbs. I was in the city, went to the burbs, in the city again, went out to the burbs, and I got this really pretty cotton yarn. Mercerized cotton, I think is how you pronounce it. But there was a trunk show going on at the shop, and once again they offered to wind up my yarn, and I said yes. And before I knew that that was not probably the best option for me, and I just picked that up, and I spent $14.85. And this particular yarn is Unique. Let me grab the card. Yeah, Unique Cotton. So I believe, yeah, Earth Yarns is the brand, and Unique Cotton is the line of the brand. So I will link in the description box to this company as well if you're interested in checking out their other lines. And so I was in there pretty quick. It was a very small store too. They had these really cute sock blockers, but they weren't for sale. She had bought them online somewhere and was just using them as display. But it was like a sock W, like one sock block, then a little curve, and then another sock, and they were purple. If you know what I'm talking about, let me know. I really wanted them. But she didn't even have medium sock blockers at her shop either. None of the yarn shops I went to had medium-sized sock blockers either in stock or that they carried them at all. And I was like, I was really hoping to walk home with some of those. But moving on, I went to shop 4 and I got, oh my gosh, this yarn, so pretty, sock weight, yellow, again, a color that I wouldn't normally buy, but it's so soft. It is 100% superwash merino, so it's very nice to the touch. It'll be nice and comfy on the feet too, and that is from the line of the shop owner. So when I decide to knit with that, I'll give you guys information. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I also got some earrings that also serve as stitch markers, but they're on pre-order because the shop owner supports local artists and things like that, and so she has a variety of items in her shop that aren't hers, that aren't from like a name brand, but are just independent artisans doing their thing. And one of them was making stitch markers that also serve as earrings, because they have earring backs as like the little hook thing, and she had already sold out by the time I visited the shop, so she was just taking pre-orders for more. So I picked some of those up, and when I get them, I'll definitely show you guys. So I got the two things there, went on my way to shop 5. So I went back into the city. I was in the burbs, in the city, all over the place. And what did I get there? Oh, yes. I got this awesome Coconuts row counter. It's so cute. Very nice. And it has this metal back. So if you're familiar with Coconuts, they have the product that's just like a watch with a metal plate on it. It's not even a watch. It's just a band, a wristband with a metal plate on it. And you can put all your stitch markers on it, your row counter, and any other tools that you need on hand. They had that there too, but I knew that was going to start putting me over budget. So I was like, I'll get the row counter. And I also picked up these really cute pins to like stick on my project bag. And I'll link to the website too, and just the kind of fiber arts section of this artist's work. And they have all kinds of cool pens that are like yarn related. And I have stitch markers just like this, so I thought that was really cute. And they come with these cute little heart-shaped pen backings, so that'll be nice to kind of put on my project bag and have my swag on display, kind of like Girl Scouts or something. Each shop, part of the Yarn Crawl, this was like a whole deal, and they had free pens too that you can put on your project bag celebrating this event, but they were already sold out of those project bags, and I didn't want to buy them because that was like already tipping me over my budget if I just walked out with a bag, and that's not really what I was going there for, so maybe next year. So after shop 5, oh yeah, I spent $34.73 at shop 5, and I'm thinking it was, well, the pens were kind of expensive, but they're from an independent business, and then Coconuts is generally like a little bit more pricey anyway, so I was kind of like, okay, I'll take that. And then I went to shop 6, and I spent $25.80, and I picked up this really nice yarn that's also dyed from the Shop Blind brand sock weight, and it's a little bit shorter than regular sock yardage, but it is fingering weight. It's 100% Debulette wool. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's this pretty like green and pink and yellow color, and definitely not something that I would normally gravitate toward, and I'll have to just knit shorter socks with this yarn as well as the cotton one. The cotton one isn't quite long enough for like mid-calf socks. So I picked up that. Then I had to, I was running out of time when I was at shop 6 because shop 6 and 7 closed at 8 o'clock, and it was already after 7 at that point. So I ended up taking a ride share to shop 7 because I was like getting really, really close to time to need to leave. And I got there like at 7:50, came through the door, and I was like, I'm so sorry, it's like 10 minutes before you close, I know, but I'm on this yarn crawl thing, can you guys just let me look around really quick? And the lady was like, holy shoot, but she didn't say shoot. She's like, yeah, come on in. It's like, we're not even going to close until like another 20 minutes or so you're fine. So I was really happy about that. And I found, this is Lorna's Laces hand-dyed yarns. I'll link to their site. When I was shooting this video yesterday, I checked their site, and it's just kind of like a product line site. It's not necessarily a shop their site kind of thing, but you could kind of check them out, see if you know some places that carry their yarn in your local neighborhood. But it's really nice and soft, another soft weight yarn, colors that I wouldn't normally go for, and this one is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, so a little more durable than just regular merino because you have that synthetic fabric. And this was on sale too, $15. It was like 40% off sale, I think, is what the shop owner had said. and or maybe it was up to 40% off. It might have been up to 40% off, or it was strictly 40% off, but there was like a whole bottom shelf full of stuff that was just on sale. And I also picked up some stitch markers from them. Where did I put them? Ah, here they are. So, nice, simple stitch markers. Quite a few. Add to my collection now of stitch markers. And then, since I made it there in time, and I spent $20.51, I was able to make my way to the last shop, and they closed at 10 p.m. Oh my gosh, my fuzzy pillow just took a nosedive again. So I had some time to get there by that point, and they usually have open knits session till 10, so that's why they were open so late anyway. And I spent $21.08 at Shop 8. And I picked up, I posted this one on Instagram, but I picked up this really cute pouch that comes with stitch markers. And I put the stitch markers inside already. Oop. But they're just little mini yarn balls. Very cute. Love the colors. And I love the cute little pouch. They had a bunch that were different colors. And they also came with this, oh, these are Hiya stitch markers, okay. And they come with a pattern for Hiya. So you can go online and find their pattern too, or through the link, so that's cute. And I also got this make your own pincushion. My aunt, who knits like my beautiful stuffies, my pillow, my cat blanket, and my matching pillow here, she's a seamstress. Well, I mean, she doesn't actively like make clothes and things, but she makes a lot of cool little pillows and stuff like that for me and for my cousin's children, her grandchildren. And so she's always making something for them fun. And I thought I could make her like a decorative pincushion, or she could use it actively for her needles. It's up to her, but I thought it'd be really cute to make something just for her since she does so. And this is not going to be for her holiday gift this year because I'm not even sure what I want to embroider to make as the fabric to go on top. But it's a cute idea. I thought that was interesting. So all in all, from the yarn crawl, I spent $221.13, so I was $18.87 under budget. So I was like, yay! But if you count my random lunch of a bag of chips and a Twix bar and a soda, and if you count the pass that I had to buy to get around town and the pass I had to buy to get into and out of the city area, and the random rideshare that I had to do last minute, I was definitely over budget at that point. But for purposes of just buying things for my yarn crawl experience, I was under budget. So I'll take that as a win. At the yarn crawl, I wanted to pick up anything that I didn't get at the Stitch Con. I wanted to pick up anything I didn't get at the yarn crawl. And I was able to find some sock blockers in size medium. They have an Etsy store. I checked them out when I was doing the description yesterday before I realized I messed up on something. And their stores right now doesn't have these listed, but I'm wondering because they were at the convention if they took all of that offline so that they could just focus on what they had in stock at the convention. And then maybe they'll re-upload it later. But they did have various sizes of sock blockers at the convention. So I picked these up, and these are Wild Stitchers LLC. So their Etsy store is in the description box. And I also got some stitch markers from Stunning String Studio. And I will link in the description box to them as well. But are these not awesome? I got two in silver because silver, I gravitate towards silver more than gold, but love these, cat themed, couldn't resist. I got some more, well, that's not the other tin I was going to grab. I got some more cat-themed stitch markers. These look like that. They're all different kinds of cats, but they're more of like a realistic cat. And then I have a more, a very graphic design of a kitty on the other set. So I spent, for the stitch block, or for the sock blockers, I spent $25.30, and the kitten markers, I spent $19.80 for all 3 of the styles. So in total, with the convention and the yarn crawl, I spent $266.23. So I think I did pretty well, considering that I didn't plan to participate in the yarn crawl because I had only just found out about it before I was going to do the convention thing. I feel comfortable. I got a lot of stuff, and it was a lot of different stuff that I wouldn't normally just pick up on my own, and it was nice to have the experience to know that there were other yarn shops that weren't just the one that had just gone out of business, and some are not close to me, obviously, because I had to go into the towns to see them, and since I don't have a car, it's pretty tricky to get to these places. But when I am out and about with my partner, I probably can convince them to take me to some of the suburban areas where there are more yarn shops that I can visit that I hadn't had a chance to visit yet. And when I go to the city for my book club, then maybe if I leave early enough, I can stop by some of the yarn shops that are not really on the way, but aroundish, so that I can make it to my book club before it starts, and then still have a chance to visit the yarn shop on those Sundays when I go to those. Would I do it again? Yes, of course I would. And will I plan better next time? I think yes. Now that I know this exists, I can plan ahead, save ahead, so that maybe I can spend either a little bit more, or maybe not try to do them all in one day, because that was a lot. It was really exhausting walking around. I was by myself, and I think it would have been more fun if I had somebody with me, so that it didn't feel like I was just like on this endless journey. Even though every shop was fun, it was like I was so tired the later and later the day got, and the hotter it got, that I was just like a mess, and I didn't feel like I could give every shop that much attention, because even though they were small shops, even though it was easy to kind of walk around the whole place and see it in 30 minutes or fewer, I still didn't have that like quality time to really like touch all of the yarn, really just kind of think, you know, what other projects could I do besides socks, especially because my budget was small, considering that a lot of sock yarn that I looked at, you know, a really, really pretty indie brand, you know, a hank of sock yarn was like $38, depending on where you went and the quality of the yarn. So, you know, those prices are already expensive, and yarn is expensive in general, even if you're buying like what is it? Karen brand yarn, like enough of that to make a sweater is still pricey. So, you know, it adds up, and it's quite an investment, and it's quite a laborious hobby. But, you know, going to every shop, it was so refreshing, because the people who worked there, like, I'd been to one yarn shop before, but, I mean, craft store, sure, but like an actual shop dedicated to yarn, just the one. And that wasn't even like a whole month ago. And you know, the people who work there are genuinely happy to be there. They love what they do. They love being around yarn. They love knitting, crocheting, you know, whatever needle art that they are involved in. This is like their wheelhouse. This is where they feel good. And to be in a place where the employees are hired there because they want to be there, because they like what they do, they like the craft, they like what they stand for as a knitting or yarn art community, it's like, you know, it's a change of pace to go there and to see people who actually want to be at work, I would say. I mean, from my experience going to, um, many shops, whether they're specialty or not, sometimes it's like, it's just the person's job. They have bills to pay, totally understand that, and they might not be passionate for where they work. And I didn't feel otherwise when I was at those yarn shops. So it was a very nice experience. And everyone was just so friendly and helpful, and it just felt like such a catered experience to be there, especially as a new knitter. This was like something I hadn't experienced before. So I was like, the Pandora's box has literally just opened, because I know that these places exist. I know how to get to them now. I know that there's like this big community event that goes on. Or if I wasn't so isolated, I would definitely take part in these events, these open knit nights and stuff more often. But that's why I'm here with you guys, because I don't have that opportunity to have an open knit night. It's hard enough to get people at work to knit with during our lunch breaks. So this is just a way for me to stay on top of my own knitting and chat and just kind of have that experience that I don't get to have as a knitter, in a community that's closer to me, that's easily accessible without a vehicle, considering where I live, and isn't a lot of money on my part to buy train tickets and bus tickets and this and that just to go to spend a couple hours a week. It all adds up eventually. So yeah, it was a really good experience overall. So next year, already I will have to start planning, I think, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to visit these other shops that I didn't get to visit, and how I'm going to get there, and all the money that's going to be involved with it. And then by then I'll probably have a whole new list of things that I want to get, and perhaps new products I want to try, projects and patterns that I have that I need the yarn for, and I'll be even more strategic about my yarn crawl experience and my knitting convention experience. Though the knitting convention, or stitch convention, was already planned. I already had an idea of what I wanted to do there. But this time I think, depending on which one comes first, I don't think they planned the yarn crawl and the con to fall in the same week and weekend, but it did this year. So maybe next year they'll stagger them a little bit more. And then I can really evaluate, okay, what can I get here? What can I get here? Who are the vendors that I'll be here? Have I already visited these shops, and do I know what they carry? Do I see some vendors on the convention list that I want to visit, that I have an idea of what their products are, and things like that. So all in all, great experience. If you have a yarn crawl in your area, I highly suggest you participate if you have not already. And if you have a knitting convention that visits your town, or I keep calling it knitting, it's not just knitting, it's yarn, it's stitches, it's needle art, it's quilting, it's, whatever. It's all sorts of things. But for me as a knitter, it's yarn. But if you have any of those you've attended or like to attend, or even like, I saw on Facebook there was like this knit away where like you're sent to a cabin and you're in a commune kind of a thing, and you're just knitting like for a 3-day weekend in Michigan somewhere, and you of course you have to pay and they feed you and all that, but it's like stuff like that. Like, do you participate in larger community knit or yarn crafty events? Let me know in the comments. And thanks again if you are coming here from Instagram, and if you're just here from YouTube, check out my Instagram if you'd like. I have other pictures there, and I plan, after I've uploaded this video, a couple days roll by, I plan on adding more photos there of like more of the close-up, or at least a still shot of some of the products that I was able to pick up while I was at the convention and the yarn crawl. I don't think I'll do the convention because I already posted those while I was at the convention, but at least from the yarn crawl, some isolated photos of some of the cool stuff that I picked up. So I look forward to seeing you soon, and again, thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting my channel. Bye!